There is no greater illusion than the idea that we have time. Every moment you live is a drop of water falling into the ocean of your life. Once it falls, it does not return. And so, if your goal is success, not merely material, but in spirit, mind and health, then the first question is not what you do, but how you relate to time itself. Time is the invisible master. You either master it or you become its servant. You do not control the flow of time, but you control the intention with which you act within it. Many people chase outcomes, goals, rewards, without first cultivating the habit of clarity. If your inner compass is not aligned, your days become noise, and noise cannot lead to harmony. So before you act, reflect. Before you plan, ask what deserves my time. A successful life is built not by doing more, but by doing what matters consistently. If you spend your time on distractions, then distraction will be your reward. If you spend your time in self-discipline, then discipline will shape your character. The Shaolin Way teaches us to train the body and mind together, but training is not limited to the temple. Your life is your temple. Each morning ask yourself, will I act with presence or will I wander aimlessly? The answer is not found in your calendar, it is found in your daily habits. Wake early, breathe deeply, move intentionally, focus with strength, rest with clarity. These are not rituals of monks, they are the rituals of success. Because in the end, success is not an accident. It is the result of spending your time daily, wisely. Choose carefully. Choose now. There is a silent truth that governs every human being, whether they acknowledge it or not. Time is finite. Regardless of our background, our wealth, our knowledge, or our position in society, we each wake up with the same 24 hours. What differentiates those who live with purpose from those who drift aimlessly is not the amount of time they have, but how consciously they use it. In the monastery, we are taught to treat time as a sacred offering. Each moment is seen not merely as a passing second, but as a seed that can be planted to shape the mind, strengthen the body, and elevate the spirit. The way you use your time is a reflection of what you value, and ultimately it shapes what you become. Most people treat time as if it were endless. They waste it in small increments, minutes scrolling through distractions, hours spent pleasing others without alignment to purpose, days filled with busy work rather than meaningful progress. Yet time does not ask permission before it moves forward. It does not stop for your doubts or your procrastination. It moves with precision and silence, and when it has passed, it leaves you only with the consequences of how it was spent. In this way, time is both the most generous and the most unforgiving teacher. It gives you daily chances to reset, to realign, to start again, but it also reminds you that what is lost cannot be regained. Unlike wealth or possessions, time cannot be stored, borrowed, or inherited. Every person is responsible for how they spend their own. Understanding time as your most valuable resource changes your priorities. Suddenly it becomes clear that every yes you give to one activity is a no to another. If you say yes to distraction, you are saying no to focus. If you say yes to comfort, you may be saying no to growth. Therefore, the art of living wisely is not only about what you choose to do, it is also about what you choose to let go of. To master time, you must first master awareness. Ask yourself, what am I doing right now? Why am I doing it? These simple questions, when asked consistently, can transform your daily life from reaction to intention. Monks are trained not only in martial arts and meditation, but in how to perceive time, not as a burden or an enemy, but as an ally. When your day is structured by mindful choices, you find that there is space for growth, even in the busiest of lives. Moreover, the energy you bring into each hour matters as much as the hour itself. Two people can spend the same amount of time on a task, yet one may progress while the other stagnates. Why? Because intention fuels direction. Passive time is not the same as active time. When you act with presence, with full engagement, you compress growth into smaller windows. In the Shaolin tradition, 1 hour of focused training is worth more than 10 hours of scattered effort. This principle applies to all areas of life, whether you are pursuing business, relationships, health, or spiritual balance. If you can bring full awareness to how you spend your hours, you begin to see where your life is heading. Each moment becomes a brushstroke in the painting of your destiny. Before you can move forward with confidence, you must first see the path clearly. Productivity without clarity is like running fast in the wrong direction. In the modern world, people often confuse activity with progress. They fill their days with tasks, appointments, and constant stimulation, but at the end of the day, they feel depleted rather than fulfilled. Why? Because they are busy doing but not necessarily becoming. Without clarity of purpose, even your best efforts can become misaligned. In the Shaolin way, we do not begin training by simply moving. We begin by stillness. We center the mind, focus the breath, and only then allow movement to emerge. Action must be rooted in awareness, otherwise it is chaos dressed as discipline. Clarity is not a luxury. It is a necessity, and it does not arise on its own. It must be cultivated through conscious reflection. Many people ask, how can I be more productive? But a wiser question is, why do I want to be productive in the first place? This simple shift opens the door to inner examination. What are your values? What kind of life do you wish to build? What brings you energy instead of draining it? When you answer these questions honestly, your priorities begin to reorganize themselves. You begin to see that not everything that demands your attention deserves your time. Clarity is the filter that protects your energy. It helps you to say no, not out of guilt, but out of wisdom. The clearer you are about your direction, the easier it becomes to resist distractions. True productivity is not measured by the number of tasks you complete, but by how aligned those tasks are with your purpose. One focused action taken in clarity can be more powerful than 100 scattered ones. This is why monks spend years training the mind before they are given advanced techniques of martial arts. Because a distracted mind will misuse its power. The same applies to ordinary life. If you pursue success without understanding your why, you may achieve results but feel empty. You may climb a ladder only to find it was leaning against the wrong wall. Clarity helps you position your ladder before you climb. It creates a foundation of intentionality, and from that foundation true growth becomes sustainable. In the monastery we call this Wu Wei, the effortless action that arises when the mind, body, and environment are in harmony. But this harmony is not random. It is born out of clarity. When you know who you are and what you are aiming for, your efforts become sharper, your decisions quicker, your distractions fewer. You no longer chase every opportunity, because you know what belongs to your path and what doesn't. This is the invisible power behind success. It is not louder effort, it is deeper vision. So before you build your schedule, before you rush into another week of tasks and responsibilities, pause, sit in silence, reflect, let the fog lift from your mind, then act, not react. That is the true meaning of clarity preceding productivity. Discipline is not a trait we are born with. It is a skill we cultivate through consistency. Many people view discipline as something rigid, harsh, or restrictive. But in truth, discipline is a form of freedom. It is the power to choose what aligns with your higher purpose, rather than what feels good in the moment. Without discipline, the mind becomes like a wild horse, constantly pulled in different directions, always seeking comfort and avoiding challenge. But a disciplined mind is like a sharpened blade. It cuts through confusion and focuses on what truly matters. In the Shaolin tradition, discipline is not just for warriors. It is for anyone who seeks inner mastery. Because the foundation of any transformation lies in repetition, deliberate, conscious, daily repetition. Habits are the architecture of your life. They are not merely routines. They are decisions made visible. What you do every day becomes who you are. This is why monks place such importance on ritual. The morning rising time, the breathing practice, the movement forms, the meditation, all are small consistent actions that over time create profound results. Discipline is not about intensity, but about stability. Anyone can work hard for one day. True strength comes from showing up day after day, even when motivation fades. This is the secret that most people overlook. Motivation comes and goes like the wind, but habits are the roots that keep the tree standing. And it is these roots, these daily choices, that define the strength of your discipline. It is important to understand that discipline is not something you wait for. It is something you do. Many people make the mistake of waiting to feel ready or feel inspired before they take action. But the Shaolin path teaches us to act regardless of feeling, to sit in stillness when the mind is restless, to train when the body is tired, to focus when the environment is noisy. This is not about being perfect. It is about being committed. And every time you follow through with a disciplined act, even in small ways, you strengthen your internal resolve. This builds what we call inner integrity, the quiet confidence that comes from keeping promises to yourself. And this integrity becomes the foundation for your success, because it means you can trust yourself to follow through. Consider this: you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. In other words, your grand vision for success will only become real if your daily actions are aligned with it. If you want clarity, create a habit of silence. If you want health, build a habit of movement. If you want mastery, establish a habit of deep work. Do not underestimate the power of small things done consistently. Discipline is not about sudden transformation. It is about daily evolution. And through these habits, you slowly become the person who no longer needs to chase success, because your very way of living attracts it. In a world full of noise and distractions, presence is becoming a rare and powerful skill. We are conditioned to think about what's next, what's missing, what could go wrong. As a result, our attention is divided, our energy scattered, but true excellence, whether in work, relationships, or spiritual practice, can only arise from full presence. Presence means to be completely in the moment, with your mind and body aligned. It is not simply a matter of being physically there. It is about bringing your full awareness into the task at hand. In the Shaolin Temple, every movement is performed with mindfulness, whether it is preparing tea or striking a wooden dummy, because we understand that the energy with which you perform an action determines its quality. The more present you are, the more powerful your action becomes. Presence is not something that happens by accident. It must be trained, just like the muscles of the body. When your mind is untrained, it drifts into the past or jumps into the future. It relives what cannot be changed or worries about what has not yet come. But success lives only in the now. The punch you do not deliver now cannot be delivered in memory. The opportunity you ignore now may never return. Therefore, to become more effective, you must first learn to be more here. Every distraction you allow weakens your focus. Every moment of deep engagement strengthens it. Just as a magnifying glass can burn through paper when it concentrates sunlight, a focused mind can cut through complexity when it concentrates attention. This is the essence of presence. It sharpens whatever it touches. In the modern world, multitasking is often glorified, but the human mind is not meant to function in fragments. Every time you switch between tasks, you lose depth. You dilute your presence, and with it, the potential for excellence. Imagine speaking to someone while constantly checking your phone. Technically you're there, but emotionally and energetically you're not. The person feels it. The moment loses depth. Now apply the same principle to your work, your goals, your inner growth. Superficial attention brings superficial results. But when you pour your whole awareness into something, you create impact. Whether it's a single conversation, a training session, or a creative project, what you give your presence to grows, and what you neglect withers. The practice of presence is not only about performance, it is also about peace. When you are present, you are not in conflict with time. You are not regretting the past or fearing the future. You are fully engaged with what is, and that is where both strength and serenity emerge. This is why monks meditate, not to escape the world, but to enter it more fully. We train the mind to return, again and again to this moment, and with each return, the mind becomes steadier, the breath deeper, the actions more deliberate. If you want to increase the quality of your life, start by increasing the quality of your attention. Every moment contains meaning, if you are present enough to see it. We often think of temples as places of worship, sacred spaces removed from the noise of the world, where one can reconnect with peace, clarity, and meaning. But in the Shaolin tradition, a deeper understanding is taught. Your life itself is the temple, your mind is the altar, your daily actions are the rituals. This means that everything you do, everything you say, every choice you make is part of a greater spiritual practice. It does not matter whether you live in the mountains or in a crowded city. Your environment may change, but your approach to life can remain sacred. When you treat your life as your temple, your time becomes holy. You stop rushing through days like they are obstacles to get past, and begin approaching them as opportunities to cultivate awareness, discipline, and presence. Many people believe they need to escape their environment in order to find peace. They say, if I could just take a break, if I could go somewhere quiet, then I could think clearly. But real transformation does not depend on the external, it begins from within. The Shaolin monks train not only inside the temple walls but outside them. The principle is this: carry the temple with you. Bring intention to your breathing, respect to your words, and integrity to your actions, no matter where you are. Whether you are at home, in the workplace, in traffic, or at rest, each moment can be sacred if you approach it with the right mindset. The question is not where you are, but how you are being. A disciplined, mindful person carries their temple within, and that temple radiates through everything they do. When your life becomes your temple, your time is no longer just something to pass, it becomes something to honor. You begin to recognize that how you spend each hour is how you are building your inner world. Wastefulness, distraction, carelessness, these are not just inefficient, they are disrespectful to the temple you are constructing. On the other hand, every act of order, every choice made in alignment with your values, becomes a stone placed carefully into the foundation of your being. In the monastery we sweep the floor mindfully, not because the act of sweeping is special, but because how we do it reflects the state of our mind. In the same way, whatever you do in your day, be it working, walking, eating, or speaking, can become a ritual of awareness. Your temple is built in the ordinary moments, not only in the extraordinary ones. To live as if your life is your temple is to live with reverence. This does not mean living with rigidity or perfection. It means living with sincerity and attention. It means realizing that each decision you make echoes into the person you are becoming. When you treat your life this way, you naturally begin to align your time with what nourishes you. You stop seeking shallow pleasures and begin choosing lasting fulfillment. You become more patient, more resilient, more focused, not because you force yourself to be, but because your values guide your behavior. You stop comparing your path to others because you understand that every temple is unique and your duty is not to match someone else's rhythm, but to walk your own with dignity. And in doing so, success is no longer something far away. It becomes a byproduct of the sacred way you choose to live each day. Time is your most silent companion. It does not speak, yet it shows you who you are becoming. And when your final moment comes, it will not ask how fast you moved, it will ask how wisely you walked. If you have listened deeply today, then you already know. Success is not about doing more. It is about being more present, more disciplined, more intentional. Wake up each day and remind yourself, my time is sacred, my life is my temple. Let every breath carry awareness. Let every step have purpose. Do not rush, do not drift. Walk with clarity, and let your actions reflect the wisdom within. Remember, you are not just passing through time, you are shaping your destiny with it.